to meet him. He's an incredible guy. The 5 minutes or 2 minutes I've talked to him, I can tell you, you are in good hands. Let me introduce to you Prophet Elvis Mbonye of Zoe Fellowship Ministries in Uganda, who is with us today. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's really an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
To be here.
Sad, are you starstruck as I am?
Like, I don't have you words. I was just sharing with him, like when I joined the first time here, that is in February 28th.
Yes.
That was the first show. So the second show, when we are setting up here, because we come early, then I get to have an opportunity to watch the sermon as we are preparing.
Yes.
And I was like, God, one day I want to meet this man. And look how God
dreams do come true.
Yeah, so and it's an honor.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have the church service running here.
What should I ask?
Oh, you should say thank you. Asante.
Asante.
We have your church service running here every Sunday just before our show.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we've interacted with you. So we feel like we know you by seeing you on the street, and it's really nice to have you.
It's good to be here.
You've been to Nairobi before, I believe.
Yes, I have.
So are you enjoying the weather that are now here? Confusing weather.
Well, it's a really nice place, though I think it has been really cold. I don't think I've come in a season like this, so but I really enjoy Nairobi. It's really pretty beautiful here. Yeah.
Karibu sana tena na tena, again and again.
Thank you.
So, Prophet Elvis, you have been a minister for a while, but you did not begin as a minister.
As a hip hop dancer.
You what?
Oh
No.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's true. I used to dance. As a dancer, right through school, actually used to do dancing competitions. Well, and I wasn't inclined spiritually. Though when I get back to my earlier years, I used to have profound spiritual experience ever since I remember the memory of my childhood. I used to have profound spiritual experiences that always made me aware, of the heavenly realm, inexplicably. I couldn't explain it. I knew when I was young that there was a realm above. There was a realm that I was in touch with, as far as I can remember. And I was always conscious of it. I was always aware of it. I remember my mom always actually spoke about, my late mom, always spoke about a time when she thought I was so strange because we weren't a spiritual home, but at some point they came in the room and found me, locked up and praying and crying. I didn't have that praying and crying culture at home. So I used to always have that sense and awareness as a little child. Then I remember one time when I was lying on my bed late in the night. I was actually asleep. I had a voice call my name, and then I woke up. So when I woke up, I saw the person I had always felt. I don't know how I can explain it more than that, and it was Jesus. And so he reached out his hand, smiling at me, in some kind of childly, fond way. Then I held his hand. I woke up and held his hand, and then he carried me up. And then we passed right where the roof was, the ceiling, and we passed different worlds. I don't know what those worlds were today, but I remember those world that is like a wilderness. You go pass another world, and then we entered a place. We entered a place that was so beautiful, and I felt at home. And I realized this is the thing have always been feeling and knowing. So he took me to a place that I've since known to be the Crystal Rivers, and played around it. It was full of joy. It was like a reunion, and something that had that had constantly been longing for. And
so it was something that was pretty familiar.
Yeah, it was very familiar.
Right.
And then
I'd like to cut you short. We need to take a short break, and then we'll return with them. I need to hear more about this experience about moving to different worlds. We take a short break. We return after this.
We light it up, we light up. As we crossing over, Jesus taking over. As we crossing over, as we crossing over, Jesus is taking over. As we crossing over. I say me crossing over.
This week on Churchill Show.
Haya. Unajua watu hawajui jina langu ya ukweli. Kidum Kibido Eke Kinodhia. You can catch us 9 p.m. this Sunday.
8.
Inabadilika aje tena?
8 ni 8 band.
Sio 9.
Take 3. 1, 2, go.
Haya. My name is Kidum Kibido Kenodhia and this is Churchill. All the way from Masaku.
Umechange script. Tuanze.
Yeah.
Catch me this Sunday 8 p.m. Go.
Haya. This is Kidum Kibido Kenodhia. You are watching Churchill Show. The journey. Do not miss.
Umesahau kusema catch me this Sunday.
Oh,
NTV. Churchill Show. Journey series. Why? Let's go.
Yes. This is Kidum. You can catch us this Sunday 8 p.m.
Umesahau NTV.
NTV.
Ungeshikanisha.
Wow, thank you for your time. How juicy.
Juicy fruit.
Business Redefined has brought you 4 episodes of Women in Enterprise, stories of resilience and excellence amidst tough conditions. I want to close this series by focusing on the education sector.
And I started from a very humble ground by going around to collect children from their village. Right now we are having around 2,000 children right away from ECD to class 8.
Placing the spotlight on the proprietors of Kakamega Hill Primary School, that is Selfa Omilisia and Lona Kimutai.
The learning was disrupted for more than a year. There were no sources of finance because now children were at home.
Taking us through the challenges they have faced and how they have scaled this business.
My name is Monica Washekenduru, and I'm excited about the 1 year of Nation.Africa. 1 year of growth, blood, sweat and tears, but 1 year where you have supported us by coming on to Nation.Africa and looking at what it is we are preparing for you. We look forward to continuing in this journey with you.
With over 12 million camels across the Horn of Africa and East Africa regions, the camel milk subsector has the potential to transform the livelihoods of those who live in these arid and semi-arid areas. This week, I'm in the northern and eastern parts of Kenya to follow the camel milk value chain to the grassroots and find out the benefits of value addition.
Now, for those who love urban architecture, this is not just about using made in Africa materials, as they put it. It's also about adapting to their surroundings.
Bags, shoes, accessories, all made of leather. But not just any leather, they are all made from pineapple fibers.
Babe, I'm at KFC. Do you want anything?
I'm actually not that hungry, babe.
I'm actually not that hungry, babe.
Coming right up.
Try the new KFC Duo Bucket. 4 delicious pieces of KFC chicken, 4 zinger wings and chips. The perfect sharing meal for 2.
AMRC's objectives are aligned with the government's affordable housing pillar of the Big Four agenda. Visit any of the participating financial institutions today and start your home ownership journey. Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company, unlocking liquidity for affordable housing.
Jesus taking over. Are we crossing over? Are we crossing? I say we crossing over. taking over. I say me crossing over. Hey, I say me crossing over.
We're back. Thank you so much for staying with us. And before we took the short break, we've been speaking to Prophet Elvis Mbonye in studio, and he was telling us about his encounter. So maybe if we can pick it up from where we left. Sorry, we cut you short. So you said you were 4 years old.
Yes.
And you had an encounter with Jesus.
Yeah.
Did your parents know, or did you come back and tell them?
Actually, I think it was my siblings that I told. I didn't tell my parents. It was my siblings.
Okay.
But then after that,
Yeah.
we obviously, we came back. It's a long experience that we had. Then he brought me back in bed. And then that was more like one of those rare heavenly moments I used to have as a child.
Okay.
In the nights. More of my nights were mostly encounters with the demonic dark world. I used to be attacked and oppressed, you know, during the nights, and I would, you know, wake, scream, then, you know, hear things walking and coming, and then actually I was known as the most fearful person in the home because of the encounters and experiences. And those who at times would come and sleep on my bed like my brother would experience them as well. So it used to be, you know, I don't want to share some of those things, you might not sleep. You know? So it was, you know, you're sleeping and, you know, something comes, walks right through, you cover yourself, close your eyes, but you can still see it. So it really was a lot of that.
So practical.
Yeah, so it was supernatural experiences every night, almost every night at least I can say. So I used to dread the nights because most of them were again that.
And how did you even cope up with, you are very young, you're getting these attacks or encounters, how are you dealing with it?
Well, I don't think I was dealing with it. I was just in fear throughout.
You were scared.
Yeah,
You were a
so
baby.
yeah, I would scream, and then they come around and say, "Ah, you're just fearful." Until a few of them began, when they would be with me, experience them as well. And then, you know, I had a few other angelic experiences. So when I grew up, I was trying to get to how I got to the ministry. So when I grew up and, you know, get to school, that is how I distanced myself from anything. I thought in the nights I should party through the nights so that I don't be alone in the bed.
You don't want to sleep, so you want to be awake every time, partying, doing whatever, but you don't want to. Like the thought of sleeping was scaring to you.
Actually, not only sleeping, just being alone, because the rest would sleep and I wouldn't sleep. And when I'm awake, that's when the things would come.
Okay.
so then
you
I
just
do
didn't
that.
want to be in the dark at home, home alone. Okay.
So one day, I think it was in about my senior 4. You guys have second high school?
Yes, we have Form 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yes, so it was in my senior, I think it was my senior 4, yes.
Yeah.
One day, I was going out with this girl, you know, and then somehow we were supposed to meet in the library. And then she comes, and then I look at her. So when I look at her, I all of a sudden know something. Then I tell her, you know, that guy has written your letter.
And she had not told you?
Of course she had told me. Okay. So because it just, you know, returned that morning. Said, that guy has written your letter. I was seated in front. And I was shocked at how I'm doing this. So she gets shocked and looks at me.
So she had already received the letter and read, but kept it a secret.
Yeah, kept it a secret. So that guy has written your letter. So she turns and
of course panicked.
You know?
How did you know? She's like, how did you know?
Yeah, no, she's looked at me wide open, eyes wide open. And then I start reading the letter from top to bottom. I read it right, even how the guy signed out. And her eyes were wide. She was looking at me.
Yeah, like mine.
It's true.
So,
like what?
And by the way, she's at fellowship now. But anyway, so I then I tell her, go and get it, because I was also astounded at how I was reading it. So that was my first prophetic experience. So I was astounded at how, you know. So she goes and brings it, and then I read through, and it's the same thing. And then I tell her, go and tear it before him, or if not, we are done. Of course, you know. Then, well, of course, she goes and does that, and then I realize these are those things, childhood things, trying to come back to me. You know, God told Jeremiah, before I formed you,
I knew you.
In your mother's womb, I knew you. That wasn't metaphorical. He actually did know him. He says, before I formed you. It is very mysterious. He says, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. He knew you. Then he says, before you were brought forth from your mother's womb, I set you apart. I separated you and ordained you there was an ordination, prophetic ordination taking place in the mother's womb. Then he said, I called you to be a prophet to the nations. So in essence, when you have a call of a certain caliber, there are things that begin operating in your life. When you come to know the Lord and you give your heart to the Lord Jesus, what happens is eternal life, the God kind of life, quickens you, and then all of a sudden your giftings that were known of God before are now channeled, are now purified to impact the world. So I thought you were going on a break.
You know, I'm just listening, and I'm wondering, at that time when these things start coming back, are you asking God questions? Are you wondering if this is now a calling? Because you were young, these things were happening when you were 4 years. At 4 years, I don't think you know what is going on. You know, and then you almost shelve it, and then it comes back. And of course, now, of course, like what you're saying, God had already ordained you to be a minister. Even though you were running away from it, He kept bringing it back. But did you have questions? Did you try to find...
No, I wanted to run as far away from it, because most of it, again, I used to have a real angelic. They would carry me around, and then they would come and narrate with my siblings. You know, we used to call them something in vernacular, because I really didn't know by then what they really were, but they were winged creatures, and they looked just as young as I was back then. So they would come, carry me right up and take me through, and we would converse. But I didn't think that was English, but we would converse, and then they would bring me back, and then I would come, and I would be happy. So the next day I would tell them, hey, by the way, those things, that's what we used to call them. Those little things, those little things came back for me, and carried me around. So I would have, because those were few in between, most of them were really attacks. I wanted to move as far as I could from the supernatural, anything supernatural. So now, come the years later, even after this experience, I said, now this is now beginning to mess me up. So I try to move so far away, until one day, my sister had gotten saved then, my younger sister, the sister who follows me, had gotten born again. So I remember I used to mock her. I would find her kneeling, praying, and I would deal, oh, Jesus. I should cry, moves away. So by one day, she decides to invite her friends to, minister to me. And then they say, okay, let me sit and see, So they come at home in the living room, and we're seated just like we're seated here, and they're sharing with me, things. And then afterwards, I'm planning to go to town later. So it's okay, let's finish it up, pray and move on. So I bow my head, and then I find that I'm asking the Lord for forgiveness. I found I was saying, Jesus, forgive me. And then, of course, now I know it was the conviction of the Holy Spirit. So I say, Jesus, forgive me. Then I give you my life. And then all of a sudden, the words changed from English to another language I didn't know, and started bubbling forth. I started speaking forth, and I'm wondering. So I wake up, I look at these guys, and they're watching me intently, my sister and these other two guys. So, and then I think these guys have played a trick on me, So
you felt like you are cornered in a place now.
Yeah, and I'm speaking a language I don't know. So I think something must be going wrong, in my mind.
Had they been speaking in the spirit?
No.
Had they been?
No.
Okay, no. So this
is just something
not
that was
familiar to you at all.
Yes. So it's just starts bubbling forth, and then I tried to say, okay, let me see whether I can speak English again. So I heard I didn't want them to see what I was doing. So I tried to speak. I don't remember certain words in English. When I speak, then all of a sudden my tongue seems so heavy and it's channeled again to tongues. Then while I was trying to, feel it and sense it, I would feel something that felt like a charge. When you rub a pen and a charge,
the static
through, like going through me, and then it burst forth out of me, and it was so intense around the room, and I burst out speaking in tongues with it, and they started speaking in tongues. My youngest sister, I think by then she was also about 7 years or 8 years by then. She walks in, bursts out. There's no one who speaks in tongues. Another sister of mine walks in, it catches. They weren't speaking in tongues before. Just they get erupted in this. It was so loud that the neighbors came from out and started and looked in the house and wondered, what is taking place. Well, the Book of Acts, they were wondering what. And I was told, some of them were saying, maybe it's a demon.
Because they don't understand.
No, they saying, Elvis praying, So it was, strange because they knew me for being so antagonistic to the gospel. So that day we prayed for about 4 hours, non-stop. In tongues, and I moved out a very, very, very changed man, different. I remember a hazy Elvis, and before then, and it was so profound, the change. And so, but while speaking in tongues during the process, I get a vision of the Lord again, and he appears to me. Then he tells me, "I've called you to be a prophet." Now I didn't know what the prophetic really entailed, but he said, "I've called you to be a prophet." He just merely said that. But then I move, and there's all this power coming out of my hands and everywhere. So I was ignorant, you understand? So I go around the house, spraying it like you'd spray insecticide. So these demons are not coming back again. So I spray it under the bed, I spray it all over. Of course, I was ignorant, thinking I was spraying insecticide, and these demons are not going to come back.
Son, I think this is a good place to play music.
It's true, but I wanted to understand, like, at what point, now all this is happening, even the vision has come and God is telling you. When was it like for you, it was like you were self-aware, like, I'm now, this is the thing, God has called me into prophecy?
Okay, I moved away from them, and then I knelt aside, praying in tongues still, and also praying in tongues, and then I was caught up in a trance, what I now know to be a trance, where things disappear, and you can only see yourself and the Lord in that place. And that's when he told me, I've called you to be a prophet. So I woke up with the same power flooding through me, and then I, the rest is again, probably we shall get into it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's time we just take a breather, because even the people watching, I know it's heavy for them. So I'm going to play a few tracks and then we come back, because I'm loving this.
If you have any questions, remember our lines are open. I think we will also put up the phone numbers, and then you can call in. If you have a question for Prophet Elvis, you can ask. If you have a prayer item, remember we're still taking prayer requests, and Prophet is here to pray for you. So as we take the musical break, we'll be reviewing your comments.